This is how to cut a long layered haircut. So to start with, what we're doing is just checking the length around the eyes, seeing how we want the blend to follow through into the rest of the hair, talking about the layers and where we want them to sit. And then where we want the length to sit. To start with, I'm using the all-in-one milk from Davines just to spray through the hair. This is a leave-in conditioner which will just help me comb through the hair and will help with any detangles. As you can see, I'm sectioning off the hair, just using my finger just to separate the hair into smaller sections so that it makes it easier and I can make sure that there's no tangles within the hair. I start by putting the center parting into the hair and then sectioning off from the peak of the head down to behind the back of the ear. I'm just making sure that all the hair is nice and neatly combed through, just so this will make my life a lot easier when it comes to taking sections later down the line. To start with, I've taken a vertical section above the ear and we have brought the hair up parallel to the floor or parallel to the ceiling, however you want to see it. This means the length towards, for this section, my right, are increasing in length. I then take a small amount of hair from the first section and bring it over to the left side of the hair where I have an identical size section above the ear, and I'm going to use that small amount of hair from the first guide as my reference point for the second section. This diagram shows how the sections are moving and how we are getting shorter towards the front. I'm then carrying on with vertical sections moving towards the front hairline. The sections are getting slightly shorter towards the front, which means there will be more layering in the face frame. I always like to check in a mirror to make sure I'm holding the hair exactly where I want it. Once I've finished the right side, I then move on to the left side and carry on with the same method. Once I've reached the front on both sides, I then cross-check. Now, starting in the back, we are then directing everything back to the first section, which means towards the back of the head, everything will be increasing in length. We're using the same cutting angle, which means everything will be increased towards the edge. We will now come through and cut the external of the hair using our comb to keep the hair in place. For this haircut, we've opted for more of a rounded finish rather than a square line. Now moving on to the fringe, we want a short length in the middle, increasing towards the sides. I've used a triangle section through the fringe area so that we've got a nice equal amount of hair on both sides. Now I'm just checking to see how that fringe is looking and see if I want to adjust it slightly. What we are talking about here is just seeing where the natural bend of the hair is. We want to make this haircut as easy as possible to style. By using the natural bend of the hair, it'll mean that less styling is required when at home. Now blending the hair from the fringe into the face frame. Using the fringe as a guide, what we're doing is chipping away at the length in front of the ear, which means we can get a nice soft finish. I've just lifted the hair up slightly so that it doesn't seem too heavy when it's sat back down at natural fall. As you can see, I'm gradually getting longer towards the edge, just so we can blend right into the length that we cut originally. I then take a section further back, just so we can blend right into that original length that we cut, so that we have a seamless finish. And then again, just checking to see how that falls in the mirror with the model. What you can see here is us comparing the sides of us with the blended side and the non-blended side, and just showing the difference. Once I'm happy with the first side, I then move on to the second side, using the fringe as a guide and gently blending through right into the length. You can see here a bit more clearly how we're just pointing into those ends to give it that nice soft finish. And then taking sections further back, just so we can blend right into the length like we did on the left side. And then again, now just checking both the sides together and seeing how the whole front looks. So the nice thing about this haircut is the whole point was so that we don't have to use a hairdryer or any heat on the hair. What we can do is just use our hands and naturally just dry the hair using the heat from our hands and the heat from the head. This will help us create a naturally diffused look, but without using a diffuser. You'll find that this technique mainly works on people with finer hair, where it doesn't take as long to dry. Now, seeing how the hair's sitting once it's dry, I've then decided to use the texture spray from Davines to give us enhanced diffused look. Just to level up the look, I've decided to come through with my original irons from Cloud9 on a low temperature, just to enhance those waves even more. The main point of this is to show the model that once her hair is fully dry, she can still use a heated tool just to create a bit more of a wave throughout the hair. You can see my hands are moving quite quickly so that it doesn't curl too much. We then come through with the texturizing spray again. We've tipped the model's head over just to give a little bit more of a volume look. I then shake out all the waves, assess how it looks in the mirror, and voila! Here is my finished result. Thank you for watching.